Well, hello, friends and neighbors. Welcome to my front porch. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and I'm about to shoot another recycle review. Before I do, look, hats off to Roy. It's a fantastic idea. If you've never seen Roy at Aquavite, you need to go over there right now and check out his channel. He's the real deal. And I got this idea to go through bottles when we're done from him. Stay with me through the break. Well, thanks for staying with me. I really like doing recycle reviews. It gives me just that final touch. Now, I have talked about every one of these bottles before, so if you're looking for a little more insight and actual kind of tasting notes, then just hit up the channel. I won't have links or anything, but you can find them and you can hear deeper thoughts. I've got about 17 bottles to go through, so I'm going to go through it as quick as I can. Hopefully, you'll find it useful. Lots of Scotch, lots of Canadian today, very little bourbon. Okay, we'll start on this end. We've got, this is actually an independent bottling by A.D. Rattray. It's Cask Isla. This is, unchill filtered, uncolored, 46%. And I got this for $35. You know, at $35, you can forgive some of the rough edges on this bottle. It's a lot of smoke, not enough good earthy peat, but I would certainly buy this again if I see it at that price. Next, I'm not sure why this is here. Look, this is the 2015 edition of Flaming Heart. Just a phenomenal bottle from Compass Box, but it was a gift, and I didn't have it long enough to say if it changed in the bottle or whether I'd buy it again. Did I enjoy this whiskey? I love this whiskey. Thanks, Throttle. Okay, this is another independent bottle. I don't think I have any more. I think this is it. This one really defines that independent bottler, right? Because it's bottled a single cask for a specific store, and so you're not going to be able to get it. But it's still, this was from Chateau Louis. It's in Edmonton. If you haven't been there, what a great place to buy whiskey. This bottle was a Highland Park 20-year-old, but only an ex-bourbon, and it actually took a while to get at some of the essential Highland Park flavors, because I'm so used to having that ex-sherry that they're well known for. But this bottle opened up beautifully. If I saw this particular one, it's a Murray McDavid Highland Park 20-year-old. If I saw it on the shelf, I would certainly buy it again. It was fantastic, and it really made me think, I like independent bottles, and I need to keep my eye out for them more. Okay, this Glenallachie 12. It was last year's Ralphie's Scotch of the Year. I really like Glenallachie. I think Billy Walker's doing some pretty creative stuff with their casking and finishing, and basically like that they're, again, not filtered, not colored. 46%. This was a great 12-year-old Scotch. It had a lot of depth of flavor, really good, almost tasted a bit like older oak to me, even though I know it's 12, but it tasted, I don't know, it was good. This was a good bottle. I don't recall it changing that much. It was just pretty good all the way through. I would buy it again. Thinking of, okay, here is a Glenlivet. This is the Glenlivet 15. I shot an episode a while ago comparing the Glenlivet 15 and the Glenfiddich 15. And, I could go back and forth liking either one of them. It's pretty light, typical Speyside. This, though, with the French oak finish, I think what it is their regular 12, and then they put it in French oak for 3 years. I think. Might have to check on that. Does add a little nice spice, and I felt the caramel picked up in it too. So not a bad bottle. In my neck of the woods, it actually goes on sale or offer just about all the time. And so I'm not running to get this, but when it goes back down to that $50 mark for a 15-year-old, I'm pretty sure I'll buy it again. Oh, boy. I think I've bought every bottle again so far. So you can tell I've got bottles that I like. This one, Glenfarclas 105. it is a real monster, a real sherry bomb, and bottle at 60%. It is rough, and I think for people looking for a refined or relaxing dram or a calm dram, or they really like that smooth quality that some whiskeys, older whiskeys have, none of that's in here. This is kind of aggressive, strong sherry notes, and almost a tannic wood that I really like. It's I like this bottle, and I'll certainly buy it again. It's a great value. Really nice. What I would suggest is like a cask strength scotch. Okay. Yeah, well, okay, keep going. This is Glendower 8, part of my value series. And, it's a blended malt. So it is a blend from different distilleries, but only malt, so only barley, released at, I think, 43%. For a value scotch, I would buy it again because, it was under $30. But me personally, I probably won't buy it again because it wasn't that exceptional, unless I see it probably like on Basement for $20, something like that. So this might be my first not buy it again. Okay, my last scotch is, another Glenlivet. Glenlivet 18. Glenlivet 18, thankfully bottled at 43 instead of just the 40% of the 15-year-old. This bottle actually kind of changed for me in time. I had it for a while. I didn't get really any sherry notes when I first cracked it open. But mid-bottle, I was getting a little more of the ex-sherry casting in there. A little more fruit, a little more on the nose, and was starting to like it. Overall, though, this is pretty much the definition of, I don't mean average. It's a fine, nice dram. But it really doesn't excite. And it's fairly costly. And so for that price, for me, I'm not buying this again. All right, that's all my scotch. Oh, my bourbons are pretty average. I mean, they're fine. We'll get into them. But none of them are really kind of special. Let's start with Buffalo Trace. Buffalo Trace, bottle at 45%, to me is a little bit sweet, kind of a honey bourbon. I like it, and it's kind of a regular on the shelf, and like around here it's like $27, so it's very affordable. I'm pretty sure I'll be buying Buffalo Trace again. Okay, now Maker's Mark. This is interesting for me because I have this, I'm sure it'll show up on my shelf again at some point. I'll see it on sale, and I do appreciate the spicing, cinnamon, and a bit of fresh oak that comes for me right up front. However, it is a wheated bourbon, and it is smoother, and sometimes for me, it's not watery, but it almost has a little bit of a quality that I lose any kind of fruit. The spicing settles out while I'm sipping, and it rides in this place that I'm not really that happy with. And I don't know why, because when I first sip it, like I haven't had it in a while, I'm like, oh, I like this. And then it settles out, and I don't like it as much. So even though I'm sure it'll sit on my shelf, in the context of this, would I buy it again? I'm not chasing Maker's Mark down. Although I do want Maker's 46 and some of their special bottlings. Anyways, Jim Beam Single Barrel. I guess I'm a Jim Beam fan. I pretty much like all of the Knob Creek, Bakers, Bookers, all the bourbon coming out their way. And this, in my neck of the woods, is 47.5%. Is, it's kind of similar to the last couple of bourbons, but for me, it's just a little more oak, a little bit nuttiness in there. And it just, to me, just had a little more rounded flavor notes and pretty much same price. It's, it's under $40. It's a little high 30s. But I could see myself buying this bottle again. I did actually like it. Okay, my one Irish. This is Teeling whiskey. Teeling puts out some great whiskey. This one is their single grain. All right, and it's non-chill filtered, non-colored. It's finished in wine casks, and it's bottled at 46%. Whew. It's colder out here than I thought. And I like this bottle, but I have to say, I liked it right up front, and then for quite some time, I didn't like it that much. I don't know if it's because I was falling out of favor with Irish whiskey that tends to be a little gentle, a little sweet, and not a lot of peppery spice, not a lot of oaking notes, which is like really where my palate is these days. So it could have been more me than this. But I have tried some other Teeling products, just samples, and I think I'll be chasing some of their other bottles to see if that flavor profile was better for me. So this was a good bottle, but I'm not buying it again. But it's good whiskey. I know. That's a bit more my palate than a recommendation. Right, the last bit is some Canadians. Boy, I am definitely cool out here. We'll start with... Okay, this is a strange bottle. This is Lone McKinnon Chocolate Malt from Central City Brewery out in BC. This chocolate malt is, I think, about 15% of that extra cooked down malt where they really, heat it up and it gets that chocolatey color, or the deeper brown color, and it imparts a strong coffee chocolate note into this whiskey, and I liked it. It's young. The nose wasn't very expressive, but the taste was pretty good. In terms of changing the bottle, actually, I will say the nose was better up front, and I just make mention that somewhere halfway through this bottle, it seemed to fall apart. I'm not sure why, but I did feel like I was losing some of the dynamic range of this whiskey, which isn't the case with a lot of bottles, but this one, if you find it, and I would buy it again, might be one you want to share quickly because it did seem to lose some of its luster. That was my experience. Okay, 99 proof whiskey. This is Wayne Gretzky whiskey. They came out with 3 whiskeys at once. It was a red cask, ice cask, and this 99 proof. This one's released at 49.5%, and it's finished in their Cabernet Sauvignon barrels. There are good things in this whiskey. Nice balance of corn and good rye come through. But I think the whole line suffers from a crayon waxy note that, you can get past and then you can just enjoy. I think the essential nature of this is pretty good. And this was the best of the 3 for me. But that crayon note really never goes away. And for me, I'm not buying this again. Okay, Gooderham and Worts, 11 Souls. This was part of the rare release Northern Border collection for 2018, I believe. Gooderham and Worts has a lot of flavor. Like it's, this is a 4 grain, 49%, 11 casks. This was a very complicated Canadian whiskey. I enjoyed it. I really did love it. I'll likely be looking to buy other releases rather than chase this one down. I think I like the Little Trinity just a little bit better, but I liked it. So how to say buy it again? If you haven't had it, I would buy it. I personally am probably not going to get another one of these. It wasn't worth really flying. It's still on the shelf. Okay, Robinson, this is part of the NHL Alumni Series that JP Weiser puts out. And I'll say in general, I find most of those NHL series like, Sweet Corn and Little Spice of Rye, not a lot of depth, just in general. This one was different for me. This one honors Larry Robinson. I don't know if I said that. It's only 40%, but it's got... some ex-Canadian barrels, some recharred barrels, some ex-bourbon barrels, some ex-rum barrels, some ex-port, and some French oak casks. I would say, of all the whiskeys in this barrel here, this one changed the most with time. Almost every time I went back to it, I tasted something else, which was kind of cool to have an evolving bottle of whiskey. So if you see it on, this is probably on sale somewhere, I would buy it again. Boy, not a lot of misses this time around. I'm sorry for that. This last one is not a miss. This last one is JP Weiser's Union 52. This bottle really turned me on to the experimentation going on with Dr. Don Livermore and his team. This is where they took what I think was essentially their 16-year-old whiskey, kind of a corn rye, and then added a small percent, 5%, of a 52-year-old Speyside Scotch. I think it was Speyside, but Scotch anyways. And the result was incredible. And in fact, there's just a tiny schlucks. Look, if you ever see this bottle, I mean, I can't imagine. It hasn't been on the shelf. It was released only in BC. But I would buy this in a heartbeat. I would pay twice what I paid for it in a heartbeat. It was unique. Great story, and the flavor profile basically was all that's good in Canadian It wasn't too sweet. And then add a little bit more char and this smoke that you could chase around. Really interesting. Hey, thanks for joining me out here in this actually rather cold winter day. And I hope you found my notes a little bit interesting. Not a lot of misses. There's a little bit more buys than misses, but hope you had some fun. Cheers, guys.